of money in relative terms. I think that having a reimbursement requirement for those people, it might hinder them from getting something that we want them, that we desire for them to have for what we're doing here. So I think that if it's something that would discourage an employee from, you know, getting certifications that we require, I just don't think that's a good way to handle it.
You're required reimbursement? Is that what you're getting at?
Well, there's a requirement for reimbursement for just about everything, if I'm not mistaken.
No, if it's a certification that you're required to have for the classification you work in,
Right?
then the district pays for it.
I think the employee has to pay for it.
The employee pays for it and they reimburse it. Right.
Well, some of the license or some of the application fees and stuff could be, you know, quite a bit of money when your hourly wage isn't really, you know, and everybody's on a tight budget. I just think that some of it should be looked at a little bit. I don't know. I guess I need more time is what it comes down to. So,
where your employer pays up front and hopes that you pass it and for your certifications. Where I work, I pay for everything.
well, the people that my organization hires, we don't hope. It's not like a pray, oh God, I hope this is the right guy.
Well, no, but if
who
you're
can pass
required-
this test, we're a little bit more on the ball than that.
Well, no, but what I mean is if you're required to have a certification
Yes.
and you don't pass the licensing, the renewal.
I guess continuing education, they provide that, and there's money that's available for training opportunities, and we also have in-house training. So we take it upon ourselves to make sure that people get the CEUs as they, you know, it's provided, and
So
there's not like I don't pay a dime for any of it.
So what happens in the event that, okay, so the district is paying for certifications that are required for the job classification.
Mm-hmm.
You want to take a course that you need for upward mobility. Is the district paying for that too?
The philosophy of the management of my place is basically they want everybody to have the highest level of certification possible. They want us all to be grade 5 treatment and distribution operators.
But if you're not
We fully understand that doesn't mean we're going to be getting the pay of the supervisor because we have the same license as him. But it's a good practice from, you know, making sure that everybody's competent. If you're getting complacent and you're just sticking with a license and you're not really challenging yourself and learning how things, you know, we're talking about some advanced treatment here, you know, especially the wastewater plant. We're probably going to have a discussion too about that, like separating, you know, water and wastewater, because I think it's gonna be hard to get people with triple certification. And I think if we make it difficult for people to get, I mean, we need triple certification. If we have people that aren't, you know, triple certified, are we going to say, well, you got to pay for it, and then maybe we'll give you a reimbursement if you pass it? I don't know. I guess. Okay, so we need more time, obviously.
Okay, well, my question is, where do you draw the line between what's required for their classification and courses that an employer wants to take so that they can learn more and like, if you're in one position and you need a certain certification in order to promote, does the district pay for that?
It could be justified if it were beneficial to the district.
Yeah.
If you're looking at an expenditure, you have to look at it like, so you have a guy that has, you know, one license, right? He's in this job that only requires one license, right? Well, would he become better at his job or more valuable if he had a secondary license? I would say yes, probably so, because he would have a broader scope of knowledge that would make him a more efficient or better employee.
So now,
If you're getting paid more, then you're obviously more valuable to the district, and you're providing services that are more valuable.
but you're not getting paid more, you're still working in the same classification, you just have the certificates required for the next step.
Okay.
Let's say that.
Okay.
But as a district this size, what's our turnover? So now you've got the certification because we paid for it.
What's it gonna be if you're the lowest paying place in the in the county?
I don't know.
And, oh, by the way, you gotta take the money that we pay you, and hopefully you'll get reimbursed if you pass it. Oh, and you have to have this license for your job.
If you have to have the license for your job, then it's on the district.
Okay.
But if you want to advance, that's on you, because otherwise it's gifting public money.
What do you mean by advance, though?
If
And
you
gifting public money?
need a certain certification that's not required for the classification you're working in, but it is for the next step on the ladder.
The ladder here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Does
Right,
the
only
district
around here.
pay you to take that course?
Is
so
there,
you can-
is there an opening for that? Is there an opening on that rung of the ladder? And do we
No.
want this person to be, there, no? Then
Well, I mean, when you have 3 people, I don't know.
So we don't want, we
I'm
don't want
open.
we wouldn't want 3 guys with,
Let
like,
Kelly,
say,
yeah.
a grade 3 wastewater, a grade 2 treatment, and a grade 3 distribution. We wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want all our guys to be that.
I think it would be great. Does the district pay for it is the question. That's the question.
Can I interject here
Yeah.
for just a second? Anything that someone defines to everybody, that everything that we change in this policy is what the current practice is. If the district wishes to go to a different procedure, if, in John's position of the employee paying and then getting reimbursed, or if Joe's position of the district pays up front, he can negotiate that later.
Are you
But
understanding?
everything in the policy
I don't understand the whole point of having an ad hoc committee. If nothing was changed and we can't change it, then why did we have 3 meetings to change things?
I could agree with that, bro.
The issue is that the prior desk manager informed our office, the information provided to our office, of the impression that was current practice, right? It was brought to our attention by the student after he left, that there were issues within the personnel policies.
You're cutting out.
Not as what the current practice was. So the entire purpose of the ad hoc committee was to put in writing what the district does today. Anything that we want to negotiate with any systems that come in later, we have made note of that, and the ad hoc committee has never changed anything so.
It's
Sounds like putting
confusing.
the cart before the horse.
Yeah, you have a comment?
So, just like what Elaine said, in the committee, we did talk about this, we did talk about it in length, and I, kind of on the fence, I side with you and I side with you, and I understand both ends of it. That currently, today, if it is beneficial to the district, and that would mean that any license up to a grade 3 would be beneficial to the district, whether that's your position or not. And if we have the money in the budget for that, then we will pay you to go to it, and we will pay for the class. And
if you don't pass it,
if you don't pass it the first time, it's on you to take it the second time.
and if you don't go back,
If you don't go back,
if you just
then
shine it on,
that's the risk we're at right
then
now.
that's the twist that we're at.
All right.
So,
I guess I'm not understanding what I'm reading either.
well, and that's not
So-
clearly defined, I'm just telling you what we're doing. But,
We're supposed to be what we're doing.
well, that is what we're doing. It's not exactly spelled out that way, but that's what we've been doing the entire time.
Which was the other half of the problem, is there are things being done around here that were not specifically spelled out.
I agree that it does need to be rewritten, and it does need to be clearer on what we pay for and what we don't pay for. I have an issue saying we're not gonna pay for anything, you have to pay for everything out of your own pocket first, because once you have a D1 license or any grade 1 license, you automatically start out with 12 hours of continuing education, which means that you have to go to some sort of class to get that, or those hours, or do some sort of training to get those hours.
Right.
Well, I would much rather pay you to go training for the next grade level, which applies to your grade level, that gets you closer to where I want you to be. You may not,
But what about the continued education?
that's your continuing education.
We
You
give
go-
that too.
So if you wanna upgrade your license from a 1 to a 2, or a 2 to a 3, or whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna send you to classes and approved classes that are gonna get you towards that next grade. Those classes will apply as your continuing education. So I'm paying for what I have to pay for anyway, but it's getting you closer to where you need to be.
Ultimately, professional development is what it is.
Exactly. So,
And then if you pass those courses, but you don't ultimately pass your test for whatever reason, you still have the fallback of that being able to use the CEUs for your
So,
Your
like,
license
so,
renewal.
In that situation, I wouldn't have a problem.
and that's, we don't have 100 people here, obviously.
Right.
Right.
So the 2 people that we do have here, that's the track they're on. That's the track I'm on. I know that I'm not going to get any more out of it than I already get. But I want to increase my licensing as far as I can go. And I want to learn as much as I can learn. So I take different classes to satisfy my continuing education and move forward.
Is
These
the,
guys, they take classes to satisfy their continuing education and to move forward. It doesn't mean that they're going to get a promotion. It means that they're going to get a license. The risk I take is that they take the test and we're out $100 for a test. Or they get to a point in their career and they take a better job because we don't pay them. That's the risk we take. That's the risk we take with every single person we hire, whether we train them or not.
Yeah.
so when you talk about advancement classes that qualifies continued education, is that weigh equally in the cost of what, are there other avenues to accomplish the continued education that's less expensive than taking on an entire course for a certificate?
Unfortunately, the classes are all about the same.
Okay.
There's new online classes now that actually cost more, but they give you a little bit more. They're a little bit broader. But whether it's the online class or the book work classes, they really all cost about the same, and they're going to get you where you need to go. They're all designed for different things. So the higher grade you get, the higher number of book you get for that, whatever that track is.
Okay.
So it's not, if they take a book, they pass a book. If they don't pass it, then it's really cheap for them to redo a test for a book. If they go and take a test somewhere, it's not that expensive. It's $100. Unfortunately, right now, we don't pay them to go take the test because it's on a weekend and not during the weekday. But, fair, unfair, if it's a license that we require them to have for their current job, then we pay them. If it's something that they're getting ahead of and they're getting something above what they have to have, unfortunately, we don't pay them for that. As the director, I think we should pay them for that.
So we're not paying them any money when they go take this test on a Saturday, even though it's company business essentially.
Right?
Unless it's for their current job and it's required for their current job, we don't pay them on a Saturday to go.
Do firemen, when they go to training, are they drawing a salary?
Depends on what they're doing and what training they're taking.
Okay, what about office staff?
Depends on what they're doing and what they're taking.
My training I did.
Yeah, I've taken tests on Saturdays and I've gotten compensated where I work.
My conference I get paid.
They quit doing it as a practice, but that's the way it was for many years.
So I agree. I mean, I don't want to keep going on and on.
I just don't want a guy to take the application, get the application for it, and then, it's like there's holes in your pockets when you walk into the test. It's like, oh, my pencil fell out of the hole in my pocket, and there's nothing else in my pocket. That's kind of what I want to avoid here with that whole thing. I just think that, yes, there's always the possibility that somebody's going to run off and go get another job. I mean, I've done it. I've done it a couple times. It happens. It's kind of the nature of the beast. But nobody's an indentured servant. So we can't keep people here because we paid for their education. But if we don't promote people being educated and competent, we're going to run into problems with regulatory agencies eventually.
You have a comment?
Mike, please sign in. I'm sorry. Don't discriminate.
State your name.
Mike Slovakia, I'm one of the operators here. Just because we get our certification saying wastewater 2, water treatment 2, distribution 2, doesn't mean that we know all aspects. There's other classes that we need to take for electrical, valves and stuff, different types of valves and things that broaden and make the job easier so that we understand more stuff. It's not just going to a class and then taking the test, you pass it, and now you know everything. There's other classes that you need to take. And so you're saying I should have to pay for those classes so I know how to run everything here, right?
No, that's not what we're saying.
Okay, well that's kind of what I was wondering, because it kind of sounds like you just want to pay for getting the certifications and like the books to get the certifications.
So what the policy policy is and what is the current practice is if you're required to have a certain knowledge and a certain level of training, then the district provides that.
Okay.
What we were trying to accomplish was a system in where it's done everywhere else I've ever worked, where you go get the class, you go take the training, you bring a certificate and your receipt in, and you say, hey, I took the class, I passed it, here's my receipt, and they pay you back for it.
Well, I can't afford it though, I mean.
Well, that's
where we live.
that's the conversation we're having right
I mean,
now.
that's basically, I've worked before they encouraged us to take as many, even welding classes, they encouraged us to take everything, and they paid for everything, because they wanted us to know everything. They wanted to treat us good so that we would know what to do.
Yes.
And the public would know how well and how good that we knew how to run everything when they asked questions and stuff, because we were treated right to where we were able to learn everything that we needed to know to run their community. So, I mean,
Okay,
that's
so-
where it was at.
All right. Anything else?
What you guys are doing with this policy, we're putting a group together, I know you guys know that, is this stuff negotiable, like?
Some of it is.
Some of it, would this be some of the stuff that's negotiable?
Some of it is.
Okay.
My understanding is that
Right now, we're just trying to put on paper what's being done.
Okay.
And we got really stumped on this one.
But anything that's construed negotiable in this personnel policy is gonna be eliminated from the personnel policy when it goes
an MOU is
to
created.
labor negotiation.
When an MOU is
But
created.
it's not eliminated from this policy. This policy is.
Well, removed from it, because it'll be in an MOU,
Well,
MOA
if we'll have
format.
an MOU, it'll change
Level
something,
line.
but it'd be a separate document.
Right.
So the only thing that will be removed from this personnel policy and placed into an MOU will be anything benefit related.
Right.
Anything that the employee gets in terms of money, uniforms, things like that. The
Which,
procedures, like
So
the
even training would
procedure,
Yes.
be construed as a benefit.
Okay.
This training would go into that, wouldn't it?
yes, I would probably say the financial benefit provision regarding training, yes. But how the training is requested, if a training is appropriate, if the employee gets the time off, that will stay in the policy.
Okay, so that's where we're at.
It sounds like you kind of need to develop sort of educational money, like an annual budgeted line item.
We do have that, do we not?
Do we?
Yes, we do.
The,
How much is it?
A few $1,000s.
Okay. So where's the rub? How it's dispersed?
It's
Yes.
just what it says in the policy. How-
it's the penny
how I
for it,
think
get your money back. That's all it is. It's so that the district is protected from people taking training. I mean, you have to get approval, right? So somebody approved it, and you go do the training. What we got stumped on, it may be my fault, I don't know, but we got stumped on it that if somebody doesn't complete the process after we've paid for it, that kind of puts us over a barrel where you're dealing with public money.
If that happens,
I'm sorry, you have a comment? Go ahead, share with us.
no, I will say that. It's like, I've been in,
You have to sign it.
do I have to sign it? I don't want to say that. Please let me.
Say what you want to say.
Okay, but that happens. I've been in big corporate positions, and I'm in one now, and it's like, we go to training, and they want you to succeed, and sometimes people mow on. Am I missing? Oh, no, you're.
Yeah, we're not talking about it.
I mean,
Moving on.
so I think, I don't know why we wouldn't want them to help these people, make them, they'll probably want to stay, I don't know, I don't think there's public comment, so.
Because they don't have the money. You have to pay again,
Wait, what?
So they're not getting paid enough.
right? If you pay for the test and you fail the test, you get to go back and take it free.
No.
You have to pay for it.
Yeah, no.
So that's
do
the,
that.
First on you, second on me.
Yeah.
Exactly,
but if you don't ever pass it, then the district's out the money for doing it.
Then you never advance.
That's okay.
Okay.
I mean, that's,
Huh?
How much is the test? How many million?
We digress. Yes. Okay, I've been asked to call point of order.
I kind of stuff.
Go ahead. You have the floor. It's yours.
If I'm not mistaken, though, don't some government agencies, I know one in particular, where they pay for your training, and then they actually have it in your contract you have to sign that you cannot go work for another agency for 6 months, or you have to then pay back the cost of that training. I mean,
I have no idea.
For instance, to answer that question, Pastoral City trained paramedics, they paid for their schooling. They had a 5-year contract, that if they left within that 5 years, they prorated the expense of the schooling. And let's say they did 2 years and left, they owed the city 3 years worth of that education.
And where do they come up with that money?
You owe it when you leave, just like a bill. It's a contract.
Well, you must get a pretty healthy paycheck if they can withhold that.
Well, they're
Well, it's in a
contract
contract.
employees.
If you leave early, you're going to another employment.
I don't know, I don't have the,
I think that's
the correct answer.
That's a $10,000.
We're bored, we gotta figure it out together.
Okay, well then, I guess
Is
I'll,
that the only item you're stuck on?
no, there's a couple, my notes are a jumble, and I'm really upset that I erased my comments on this, because this thing was working really good.
Bring it back in March.
If we can bring it back in March, I'll be prepared.
I'd like somebody to come up with the golden plan on how to do it.
I like when, well, I don't know what the rest of the board thinks about what the Paso City formula was about you have the contract, you have to work, and if you leave, then you have to prorate.
I think you're gonna have a hell of a time doing that with people who are making what they're making, people like that.
Well, you just stay for 6 months or whatever. If you fail the test the first time out, then you pay for the second to retake the test.
You can't afford it. That's why the district
Well, then
paid
pay
for
your
it.
employees more money.
That's what employers do, they put
So
things back in there, and then
I think there's
You're right. No, you're right.
No, I mean, really.
I think there's a misconception here. In the committee, we went around also. The major cost is in the classes. It's very slim that you're not going to finish and pass a class unless you just don't take it. The test, if we're not paying you to go take the test itself is usually under $100. So if you don't pass it, we're out $100. We're not out $10 million, we're not out $1,000, we're out $100.
Yeah, we're not talking
We should pay people to go.
for how old here, I mean.
Yes, it's a state test. You go, you sit in a room with a couple hundred other people and take a test on a piece of paper. It's nothing.
And don't wear pants with holes in them.
The classes range from anywhere from $100 to $400 or $500. And how it's been, and I can go through this with Rob and we can look at it and see if there's any way to clarify this for what we're currently doing. But if it's a class during the day, then we will pay your wage during the 8-hour day, and we will pay for the class if it's beneficial to the district. If there's a cheaper way to do it, then we will do it the cheaper way. Because there's a lot of correspondence courses or online courses that will get you the same thing as going somewhere and taking a class. So if we can leave it at that, then Rob and I will go through this and try to clarify it, and then we can bring that back, then I think we can
We'll need a
stop the
motion.
circle.
Then I don't think we should kill the committee yet, if that's what we're gonna do.
We'll have to bring back
Well,
a resolution to kill it anyway.
I think we need to have everybody, we need to have more of like a special meeting format than an ad hoc committee, don't we? Because then everybody's there and all the concerns are voiced at the same time, and I don't know, that's just my opinion.
We can do that.
So we need a motion of something.
So then we're
do
gonna-
something. I have a comment. Oh, never mind.
There was one
Back to
behind you
public comment?
first.
Do I have to go up there? Nobody else
State your
does?
name for the record.
I would really like it if you did, please. This is a public meeting.
And I'm really confused because I've heard in the course of this conversation that the ad hoc committee was working to just reconstruct the document in terms of what is the current practice. But most of the discussion is about what they want the practice to be, which I understand that, but what is it? What are you working on? Changing what is, or?
Helene, you want to repeat your statement regarding that?
The position that we're taking and what the ad hoc committee has done thus far is put pen to paper on what the current practice is, based on the fact that the prior general manager did not provide our office accurate information on what was currently occurring at the district. So during the ad hoc committee meeting, there were no steps taken to indicate, okay, this is something we want to negotiate when a union is certified and is represented, etc. But the whole purpose of the board and the ad hoc committee right now is to put pen to paper of what currently occurs.
So, but what about reimbursement versus paying upfront?
I think Kelly already answered that question.
Yes.
So if it states it's reimbursement in the policy now, that is not current practice because it's not how it's doing down in
Exactly.
It says it can cover or reimburse.
Okay.
So we're technically recovering it.
Okay.
And it's also only for what's required for your classification. It's not for anything over and above that. So we beat that horse to death.
Yeah. Not
Do
yet.
you want to continue, or are we gonna?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Move on.
You missed the hook.
I'm gonna lose
I'll step
all
up to
you
the
people
podium
now.
because it's a public meeting and I'm
Thank
acting in
you.
public capacity. I already
So
said
can I
this.
just make a quick comment before Scott
Remember
talks?
your warning.
Go ahead, Elaine.
Legal first, sorry.
Go ahead, Elaine.
Section 2.7, which talks about the training and education, it says the district will cover or reimburse any education or something.
Okay.
So it